headed to go check out this Polaris Razor 800. It's supposed to have some motor issues. I talked to him on the phone. He said something about maybe the cam or something to do with the valves. It's pretty clean for a 2011 one owner Razor 800. Get this thing back to the shop. And here it is. I think this is gonna clean up very nicely. Something going on with the engine. His son was actually a viewer of the channel, which was pretty cool. He had wrote on here originally. I noticed it said, take care of it, please. But we got, everything's all taken apart over here. He had already started taking it apart. And Pro Armor doors, there's the other seat. And I got the original factory tires. I picked this up for $1,000. I really did hope to get it down, but this is probably the nicest Razor I've bought so far. There's a broken axle boot right there. It's got a Rhino on this rear one. Hopefully this Odyssey battery will charge up. I don't have high hopes for it. But these 800 engines were real bad about the oil pressure relief valve either sticking open or sticking closed, and it'll cause you a bunch of failures. This is where it's at. He's already messed with it, and he said he could not get it out. He mentioned that he had looked at it, and I think he said one of the valves weren't opening. This isn't even the original motor. I think he said it's been rebuilt twice. So there's a good chance we may have to tear all the way into the engine. I believe we do. I'm like 99% sure, but maybe we'll get lucky. So I'm gonna start by seeing if the oil pressure relief valve is stuck myself personally. And then we're gonna try turning it over. Yeah, it's stuck. Well, we're gonna leave that out and see if it'll shoot it out while we're trying to turn it over. There is oil in here. So I'm gonna pop these valve cover bolts off, turn it over, and let's see what our valve train's looking like. He said he thought it had low compression, and honestly, it doesn't really feel like it from spinning the clutch to me. That doesn't necessarily mean one of the cylinders may be low on compression and the other one has good compression. Ooh, there's some dirt and stuff in there. Ooh, one of our rockers are not even attached. I very highly doubt we're gonna get by without tearing into this motor, but I kind of want to see what we're working with to begin with. This engine is a pushrod engine. And of all the engines out there, if you wanted to get your feet wet with learning how to rebuild a motor, this, in my opinion, is the easiest. Let's put that back up underneath there. We may end up having to do top end. But we probably got a smoked cam. So my goal is to stay under $400 in parts. But I've already spent $100 on fuel, and I want my total end result to be in this unit for $1,500 or less. So I got a temporary battery in there, and fuel pump is working. 1,824 miles. 293 hours. We got to check engine light, but there's a bunch of sensors unplugged over here, so that's probably why. All right, let's see. Press the brake. I was not expecting it to start. Well, that's a plus. It runs. Oh man, was not expecting that. Was not at all expecting that. We don't even have the intake boot hooked up. Like, look at this. There's a lot of buildup in there. Wow. I'm blown away. Well, it wasn't knocking, so that's a plus. The crankshaft position sensor's not even in it. It's laying right there. What? Almost nothing's hooked up to this thing. Well, let's try that again. I'm gonna take the spark plug boots out this time though. Look at this one here. If you notice, I bet we need a cam. All right, so we need to get this motor pulled. Because to pull the cam out, you take both of these covers off. Very easy job to do. Overall, this engine's very easy to time, and then the cam's gonna slide out. We're gonna have to take the top end off because I'm probably gonna need to replace those lifters. We're gonna end up sticking with the Razor 800S cam. I thought about doing an aftermarket cam. As I did some research, it kind of seems like the Razor 800S cam's the way to go on these. We'll get that pulled out and let's get it set on the bench. We're gonna have to order parts regardless, so let's get it out. I'm gonna run a compression test on it first to see if our cylinders are within 10% of each other and still within compression range. All right, this is our magneto side. It's almost 120. Ooh, that plug's looking pretty gross. I don't know what y'all think. Y'all think it been sunk? He said they'd never take it and they never had it in deep water. All right, clutch side now. 150 PSI. So we may be looking at, maybe we can get by with just piston rings. This motor supposedly hasn't been that long since it was rebuilt. It's only got 1,800 hours on it, 1,800 miles on it, 300 hours. It's actually pretty low to this be actually the second motor and for it to be a failed engine as that. So let's get the thing pulled out and let's get it on the bench and see what she looks like. All right, it's all out. Looks like a huge mess. And it probably looks scary to a lot of people that would be, all of that's out, like just to put all that back together, but I don't know, somehow it just makes sense. It's actually pretty easy. Ended up taking the skid plate off because it's a lot easier to push the motor up from the bottom, especially when we go to reinstall it. Pushing it up from the bottom and having someone finagle it, yeah. Not to mention, I noticed the prop shaft has a lot of play. We're probably gonna replace that whole thing, but not without some casualties. Broke the head of that smooth off. 100% my fault. I was trying to do high torque stuff with low torque tools. That's all right, it's under warranty, it's cool, Harbor Freight. But this is my screw up. So to get the clutch puller in there with the gas tank in, I had to chop this down. You're supposed to have a shorter one. And I thought nothing of it. I thought, okay, we're long enough, 100%, we would be fine in the length department. But what I didn't foresee, this right here bottomed out. And so while it looked like I was struggling to pop the clutch off, I stripped all the threads. I don't know what I want to do with that because I don't know if I want to put that clutch back on. I can reinstall it, no problem. Removing it's going to be a huge problem after it's reinstalled. All out and our motor is up here on the bench. I'm thinking they happened to catch it just in time because like, look how clean this engine is. For something that was snorkeled, nothing's clean. And like this is the skid plate. Normally you go to pull one of these for something that's been like mud road and that thing's just caked in mud. I don't think it's been mud road in a while, at least not since the last time the motor was taken out. So let's get into this because it is Monday and it's like 2 o'clock. I have to have parts ordered, it fixed and put back together for this video to go live on Sunday. Yeah, we need that gasket too. That is a half-ass fix right there. So this right here is real bad about failing. And then over here, basically is where it fails. Oh shit, that's cracked. Look at that big old crack right there. Wonder what caused that. So we're gonna replace this whole thing. I think I have one though. This right here on the exhaust side gets flat. See that? It's got a lip to it. This side gets flat and causes an oil leak. Such a cheap fix. Such a cheap fix. There we go. Sweet. Head looks good. Looks like this cylinder was burning a little darker. Clean that cylinder up, see if it's bad. Okay. Rods are good. I wonder why there's so much dark buildup on that piston. Doesn't look like we have a failed lifter. Doesn't mean we don't. Why don't that one want to come out? Look. See how it's convex or concave? Honestly, I don't know if I'm using the right word there. But that is going to be a worn out cam on that one. That one's worn out too. Starved it of oil. Took out the lifters. Yep, same thing on that one. Dirty, to be expected. Ooh, billet water pump. That's a plus. All right, while we're in here, we want to check out our oil pump and make sure it's good. We have to pull the oil pump regardless to get the oil pressure relief valve out. I've never had one stuck that I've pulled, so hopefully it goes well. There's a little bit of wear on that oil pump. I'm not sure if I want to send that or not. That little shiny piece of metal right there in the middle is our oil pressure relief valve. It goes straight up into that thing. So yeah, that's what's stuck. I like to say I'm making progress on getting this thing out, but the only thing I've been able to do so far to even get it to move is getting this hot. Getting it hot and trying to work it back and forth. That's all the movement I've been able to get out of it. Honestly, it looks like somebody's drilled into it already. And they drilled into the aluminum. I don't think I can get that on camera. You see it in there? Like there's a drill down and it's drilled up. I don't know, I've never had such a problem. I'm gonna try something. Hopefully I don't jack the case up. Oh shit, that worked. It gave me just enough force to get in there. So I'm using Allen head wrenches based off of somebody else's YouTube video. And you just step it up little by little till you got it. Ha! Victory! They have a redesign kit. I don't know whoever rebuilt this, I don't understand why they didn't do it. Mostly want to see what the cam journals look like. Because if the journals on the cam itself are jacked up, then they're going to be on the crank too. And that's going to be a problem. Yeah, see, and I'm glad I looked. All right, so ignore the dog hair on it. I picked up a towel off the floor. I'm out of paper towels on everything. So that journal right there, that's jacked. Look at the wear on that lobe. That one, I believe, was the one that was the good rocker, the good lifter. Look at that lobe right there. That one. So, starved the whole thing of oil. This is gonna be a problem. Unfortunately, the cases are part of that. It doesn't have replaceable journals like the crank. Because the crank and the crankshaft balancer both have replaceable journals. This one don't. So that means I've got two choices. And since I've already decided what I'm gonna do with this unit, we're just gonna replace the cam and the lifters and go from there. And the oil pressure relief valve, obviously. I mean, because otherwise we're looking at replaces the cases. I really don't want to put $500 cases on this today. Well, like I said, we're trying to stay under a $400 budget. So I'm gonna get some parts ordered and let's go from there. All right, we got us some parts in. We're getting ready to go. But, so I don't want to call out the name of the engine builder. I knew I recognized the name and I could have swore it was a good company that I recognized. I was wrong because I looked it up after finding some really weird stuff on this engine. So this here is the cam I pulled out of here. I found that part number, Chinese cam. OEMs are stamped on the end right here, like that. And the cylinder has some damage to it that doesn't look like, that's not like actual running damage. That's like nicks or something. I don't know. That's not something that's acceptable to run, and that is not something that these pistons have caused. For the amount of hours they put on it, supposedly they sent it to a local shop and he sent it off to, they have a 2.3 star review on Google. I thought it was another company that I've heard very good things about, and I got them mixed up. This motor company is known for screwing people over. So that is what happened to your motor, buddy. It always sucks to hear about stuff like this. You know, if you're gonna buy a motor, guys, Google who it's from. There's a lot of really good companies out there, and there's a lot of really bad companies. I see people ask me about certain kits, certain places to order from, certain names, and I don't want to be the one to say, hey, that company's trash, don't order from them. You know, a lot of times I'm gonna respond with, Google it, make that decision for yourself. So that's what happened here. I ordered an OEM cam because the knockoff cams are known for doing this. So yeah, that's the whole failure. I mean, that oil pressure valve sticking, that's also a problem, probably caused that as well. But I bet you they didn't do anything to get that out of there. They probably rebuilt it and left that in there to begin with. Never took it out. We've got ours out, so we're gonna get this thing put back together today. But we got us a ton of parts in. It's our new valve cover. I'm gonna have to clean it up, or used valve cover. We got us a interstator cover gasket. This here is our top end kit, same kit we used on the Ranger last week. An entire assortment of all new exhaust gaskets. 2 brand new spark plugs, because I'm not going to run the dirty ones that were in it. A set of used OEM lifters. An OEM clutch. Doesn't look beautiful, but honestly it's just covered in the dust. I need to clean it up. A used OEM cam. Got the part number right there on the end. The updated oil pressure relief valve. These ones supposedly aren't as bad about sticking. The water temperature sensor, I broke that on the way out. Valve cover gasket goes to that right there. Like if you're in a pinch and you got to do something like this is fine. But to rebuild a motor and put that silicone on there, that's not okay. That is not okay. Especially with as cheap as these are. Got an intake boot, and I did not order a Quad Logic boot. This is some cheap stuff off Amazon. I've had really good luck out of them. They're not bad. They're good boots. New oil filter and new joints, slip yokes for the drive shaft. We're gonna try to rebuild that. Hopefully it's not too jacked up. Rear axle, which turns out I already have this, so I might send that one back. I don't know yet. I might just save it for a spare. And battery. This is new, but I've been using it as a tester. Today, we get the motor put back in that, but we got to get it put together. So we're going to start by getting our engine back together today. And by no means is this me just throwing shade, because obviously I use the Chinese parts as well. But if you're paying to have an engine built by somebody who is a professional engine builder and charging that type of price, you know, $3,000–$4,000 for an engine rebuild, because there's a few of them online. I looked to see what a drop-in engine costs for this thing, and you know, they're $3,500 is right about there. You know, if I paid $800 to have an engine built and it was built with Chinese parts, it's what you expect. It's $800. Now we're going to put our cam in here. Just make sure it's real nice and clean. We'll make sure we got lots of oil on it. We don't want no dry starts. And I know there are going to be comments that say, hey, you're, you know, talking about bad engine builders and you're doing such a half-ass job at putting that back together. You know, you should definitely have torn it all the way down and fully inspected the crank and the crank bearings, crankshaft balancer bearings. And you are right, but there's one detail I did leave out, is this motor is trash. No matter what. The cam journals on the cases are just, they're trashed. The crank's been starved of oil, and right now it doesn't have any play. No telling how long this will last. Probably not very long. But with that being said, it is very rare that I have a unit come in here and I'm like, I'm gonna keep this. Talking about like never. I never want to just keep something. So I am keeping this unit and we're going to see how far this will last personally. If I were selling it, I would not be comfortable with selling it. This motor may not even last me an hour, but it is a risk that I'm willing to take. Because I spent, what, $100 in parts on motor stuff? And we can see how far we can take it before it completely grenades. My plan is to, here in the future, find either a parts bike with a good engine in it. Maybe it needs a transmission or something. And I did find one. He just wants too much for it. Or it's for 2 of them and one of them's pink. So I'm going to take my chances and see if he decides to come down. He put them online for $4 grand, I think it is. And they're pretty rough. But to do that or find a nice rebuildable core, this engine, the cases, like the crank bearing and the crankshaft balancer are both replaceable bearings within the case, but the camshaft is not. And that is trash. Those journals, they're trash. So I've always kind of wondered, how far can an engine really get pushed? And I would just go all out on it right now on dumping the money, building it, but I need to get my shop paid off first. And it's kind of priority to me. So basically on these engines with timing, you got 2 dots right here, and I'll show you these a little more up close in a second. And then there's another dot that's right there that's gonna line up with that one. And that's the entire timing. So the timing on these, you got, see those 2 little dots right there? Connect those, and then there's one right there and one right there. Crankshaft balancer, camshaft. And then the oil pump goes in there. And it's a little chewed up. Oh man, as I zoom in, it looks so bad. Like I said, this engine's trash, but I don't mind throwing $100 in parts at it to say, let's see what happens. Versus like sourcing a motor, no telling how long that thing will sit in here broke down. Plus I can kind of go through and look through everything else and see if there are any other issues with the unit. I don't believe there will be, but just be able to find some other stuff. Before I probably won't take this anywhere like this to ride it. This will just get rode around the house until it gets swapped out. Because this, like I said, this motor's trash. But I've been looking for one of these razors in good shape for a while. Something that doesn't have a ton of hours on it already. This one fits the bill perfectly. Some of y'all might be car guys too, and there is a saying that when you're building an LS engine, you never look at the cam journals. That is a rule because they always look so bad. So maybe I'll get lucky and this thing will just run fantastic, but hey, I doubt it. Now we can put all of our accessories and stuff back on. Lube everything real nice and good. Including these cam lubes. And start putting our new lifters in. 1, 3, 4. So if y'all want to vote to see, hey, how long will this motor last? I'm going to say 15 hours. That's my guess. All right, let's get our top end on here. See if this motor is going to be here for a long time or if it's just here for a good time. I guess I am in this a little bit more than I thought I was, mostly because the cost of this top end. So between the fact that we got Chinese gaskets on my grenade, there's pitting on this head that 100% should have been decked out of it. It's all in the coolant jacket ports. Now early on one of these first 800s, I learned how big of an issue that is. These are not near as deep as the one that I had problems with, but we're gonna run the copper spray gasket because it'll help seal that up. Oh, we gotta put it in now. Cool. We're about to find out. Grenade or not grenade. So now the motor's in place. It's just got to be bolted in. I got to find those 2 bolts. There's a couple bolts right there, a couple bolts on the bottom. These are actually a lot easier than it looks. It's not so intimidating. A lot of people look at this and say, oh man, that's too much, way too much. And I'm like, no, it's not really that big a deal. You can't mix match stuff like this. See, these 2 plugs, you can't mix match. Those are the injector plugs. Not to mention they're colored. So, and then everything that you're like, with the harness like this, I'm gonna find 1 plug. You can't mix them up. Nope. It's hard to do with 1 hand. And that is the plug, right? Cool. That means these other plugs are gonna be within 6 inches. They should be right there wherever they're gonna go. So probably on the throttle body. Kinda can't screw this up. I mean, you can, don't get me wrong. I could screw up anything. Plugs are very easy. You can't mix match your stator plug. There's nothing else here that looks like it. I don't even know what that goes to, but you can't mix match it. Spark plug wires, wherever they are. I lost them. I'll have to find them later. Anyway, you really can't screw it up. The motor mounts, that's another thing. You know, you look at these bolts, you're like, man, where did all those bolts go? Straight up, straight up. I do remember that was motor stuff. Skid plate. You know what? I think that went to this bar that was back here. The big X back here. And then I got a whole box of bolts to put together from somebody else taking it apart. And it's all hooked up except for the clutches. I need silicone to be able to silicone those in. I'm actually going to utilize the snorkels on this thing, so now we just need to fire it up, jack the front of this thing up, and start burping the coolant. I'm going to run the first heat cycle, and then I will go get the stuff so that we can silicone it back together, put all of this back on, and then we'll do the axle and the front drive shaft. All right, moment of truth. Cycle that a couple times. Let that pump build some pressure. Gonna have to mess the throttle cable a little bit. They had some stuff on there. Running good though. Sounds good. Ain't blown up yet. Huh, this thing's getting up to temperature very quickly. Very quickly. I wonder why it keeps starting and dying though. Engine is at 150 degrees, but those tubes are cold. There's definitely air pocket still in that. We got a really bad air pocket here. Start that back up. Thermostat just opened up. I guess it's 180 degrees. I'm gonna have to look that up. Yeah, the hose going to the radiator is starting to get hot now. Code for. Let's get the scanner out and see what we got a code for on this thing. All right, let's see. Let's see what she says here. I'm starting to think I remember why. I think it's my screw up. I pulled the crankshaft position sensor off of another unit and swapped it with this one to get that other one going and forgot to buy another one. Whoops. Camshaft position sensor. Let me rephrase that. 2012 Razor 800S. Auto scan. Let's see what the engine says. Bunch of stored stuff. Cam sensor signal fault. That's the only one active. Let's clear this. Yes. Okay, we cleared our fault codes. Start it up and see what she says. Code just came back on the engine. Cam sensor just came back. That would definitely cause our issue with what it was doing. Fan works, that just kicked on. So I need to order that. Order another cam sensor. Turns out we need a front wheel bearing. Bearing. Golly, let that southern accent come out. And the lower ball joint. Oh, and bearing. You can see it right there. So front bearings, front ball joint. All right, now let's start putting this back together so we can get our clutches back up on here. Put some silicone on the back side of the mounting point for this. This is camshaft position sensor. secondary clutch. I like to put these in gear. Not park. Park doesn't do it. Put it in gear, and then you can rotate it and get it to line up on the splines real nice and easy. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier. I did purchase the correct puller. Good there. So if something happens and I need to pull this clutch back off, I can. Without tearing a bunch of stuff up. All right, let's go out for a rip. Neutral. All right, so we can keep an eye out. Weird, the shifter's backwards on these. Just trying to stall. Oh, sketchy. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I like this. Oh yeah, I like this. This is exactly what I was looking for. You can feel that front end loose as shit though. Dang, this is growing fast. Ain't gonna fit the width over there. Huh. Sorry. Back it up there, yo. Four-wheel drive. Oh yeah, four-wheel drive works. Sweet. We just monster trucked that tree down. Oh man, I wish I had my doors on. Thorns are all thorns through there. Sounds good so far. Need that crankshaft sensor. That's probably why I don't want to idle at all. I like it. Oh yeah, I like it. It's alright, even if we got a grenade motor, right? Like the clutch cover. Was gonna go ahead and put this thing together, but honestly, I don't want to do that until after I'm sure that our running issue is all the camshaft position sensor. Because if you need access to any of this, once you put the bed on, you lose access to it. So we're gonna leave that alone. I still need to replace this hose. There's a nice little crack in it. So I'm gonna start with up here, getting that axle replaced. We're going to take some of the tension off of these shocks because when you jack it up, it doesn't really go down. Like the wheels are normally droop. So we're gonna take some of that out of there so we have a little more suspension travel. Hopefully that could be why it seems like all the shocks are blown out. Hopefully they're not. And go ahead and get this drive shaft taken out while we've already got the skid plate dropped out of here. That looked like 2 new rear wheel bearings too, didn't it? See how much drop that had though? Yup. Rear wheel burn. That one really needs it. I guess I should look and see if I have that. It's the bearing and that upper bushing and the lower bushing. Let's see what we got. So I got 2 new OEM, those are the HD bushings. We'll be able to do this top one right here. The bottom one doesn't have that much play. I want to kind of wait for phase 2 to do all new bearings and all new bushings on this unit. But we got lucky. I do happen to have 2 new bearings. These came with last week's axles from that Ranger. So we're gonna put these on there and this thing's gonna have new bearings all the way around. It turns out I wasn't recording that part, but the old axle came out in one pull. How lucky could I get? Unfortunately, that one is a Rhino, and I will end up having to rebuild it. They're like 300 bucks a pop, and it's worth rebuilding that. This OEM has a much smaller shaft, so I'll probably break it. That's okay. Now we need to swap out this worn out bearing right here. Then I take this and I heat it till it smokes. Flip it over, put it on the dirt bike stand. Stuff's already falling out. Big socket. Now I gotta get this thing real hot again. You should. Just drop right, oh man. No, 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 no. Should just drop right in, but if you don't hit the angle right, see, as you can tell it's angled, as soon as you drop it in, it starts heating up and gets stuck at one certain spot. There we go. That was how it's supposed to go. And now I'm gonna bring these up a bit, especially because this side is almost a whole quarter-inch longer. Once you break them free, they're pretty easy to do. That may have not have been nowhere near close to how much we need to do, but it's a start. But luckily, I had another hub. This one I pulled out of this side over here, just completely shattered. Yeah, that's the way it was. As soon as I took it off, it just fell off in my hand. That I had to swap the studs out because there's long studs and short studs. The short studs won't work with these wheels. Wheels aren't quite leaning as bad as they were though, so that took some of that out. Plus the wheel bearing as well took some of that out. Now we're going to get to this front drive shaft, swap them U-joints out. And if all goes well, once I get that out, we just slide it that way and then you can slide it up and out. Pretty easy to do for the most part. Had to take a little more apart to get than I thought I would. Had to unbolt the front diff, slide it forward, and take the console out so that this could pop up and then go out the back. So now I just need to swap out these sloppy joints. Camshaft position sensor in. It's Chinese, so we're probably gonna have to replace this one with an OEM. But this will get us by for right now. When you need it fast, you gotta go with Amazon. And we got us a new ball joint right here. We're still waiting on the bearings. Those might be in later today. They might not. UPS may have lost them, and I may have to deal with it later. New sensor is in, easy peasy. We need to clear the code real quick and see, but I don't think this engine's gonna last very long. There's already a glitter party going on this crankshaft position sensor. Camshaft, look at that. Look at that sparkle, look like I dumped glitter in it. That's okay, I was aware of this. I'm hoping to get 15 hours out of it. All right, we got the scanner hooked up. We're gonna clear that code. Okay, clear DTC. And yeah, it definitely sounds smoother. And it's not trying to stall out on me. I'm gonna put this thing back together real quick and so we can actually ride it around. Oh yeah, looking much better. And we're gonna roll this thing out there and let's get it washed. See how this thing cleans up. I'm real confident it's gonna look good. Oh, I knew this thing would clean up good. Honestly, I thought the seats would clean up better. Look at that, it's a nice, thing turned out pretty nice except for the white control arms. We're just gonna pretend like those didn't happen. They're always, oh, you know what, we forgot a piece. Yeah, I need to find a way to make the factory graphic work with this. I took it all off and I felt really guilty, but so far I'm digging it and this thing turned out pretty clean. I got some more plans for it in the future, but we're gonna have to see if some cool companies want to sponsor some stuff on this thing. We only passed the budget up by like $125, and that wouldn't have happened if I'd have known that one of those axles was a rear, for one. That was 44 bucks. If I would not have messed the clutch up, that was another 50 bucks. And if I would not have pulled the crankshaft position sensor off of this and used it on something else, and then put the junk one back on this, that's $120 something. So yeah, we would have been right in the $500 budget if I would not have screwed that up on those parts. But that's no big deal. I mean, we only passed it by 125 bucks. That's not too bad. Now we're gonna take the vote. How many hours will this engine last? So far, what was it, 293? I have to buy new door latches. It's jacked up. 293 was what we were at. Chickens and that came back. 293.5 is where we're at now, so not very much. If this was, you know, a good solid engine in there and it was going up for sale, this would be worth, in my area, probably about 4,800. I was thinking 45, but I think it's clean enough to fetch 48. Probably one of those units you list it for 5,400. The windshield, it's a little janky, but I think I just need to clean it some more. You can see through it pretty good though. I'm gonna start trying to track down some parts bikes. Maybe we get lucky, find one with a custom cage, some audio. I'd really like to have the updated seats bar that holds the seats in, like right there. The peg broke off that side, so I gotta replace that. Potentially some arched control arms. I'd kind of like to get maybe some BKTs on here, but at the same time, I kind of like the old school look of these Outlaw 2s. They don't even make these tires anymore. The rear's a little bit rough, a little chewed up, but they'll get the job done. But it'd probably be worth about 4,800. The snorkels would be a pretty big deal killer as far as resale value. I'll probably put some videos of some riding videos of this thing in the members section, since the regular channel videos, that's not really what we do. So y'all stay tuned, we'll see what happens. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next one. And let me know what y'all would do with this. Like, you know, I know everybody's got different riding styles and mine's pretty diverse, but as your riding style, what would something be cool to do with on this?